to jump further than him in the Top Gear Winter Olympics ski/car jumping champion?
A 20-year-old, slightly rusty Leyland Mini.
So let's work this out. Mini does 0 to 60 in what?
About 14 seconds.
No, hang on, that's not going to be very relevant though, is it? Because you're not going to get any grip off the tyres. All you've got up there is gravity.
Oh, I know, gravity's a cruel and unpredictable mistress, so...
Well, no, it isn't. It's a constant all over the world. But this is quite simple arithmetically. We've got, it's V equals U plus AT. We know what acceleration due to gravity is, 9.8 metres per second squared. But that's weight component down a plane because it's on a slope. So we need to get the mass of the car, and we need to know the angle of the slope, and then we need to work out also the angle when it gets to the lip where it jumps off, and that will give us V, and it will follow a sort of parabolic trajectory. We should be able to then calculate the exact point when the car comes and meets the snow. That's quite easy.
I think we should go and get a cup of tea and work that out. So come on, James.
Hang on.
Is gravity going to be enough to get the car down the ramp and beat the skier?
No.
Right. Then we have a huge problem.
We need some more propulsion because we can't use the engine, because that'll just spin the wheels. Right. Also, we can't put a driver in it because obviously he'll be killed. So we're going to have to work something out on steering. That can be your job, okay?
There's another problem. Once it's set off, we've got to stop it at some point. Otherwise, it'll just soar over there and take out Lilyhammer. So I'll work out where stopping it.
Right, guidance for you.
Stopping.
Braking for you. And then I'll figure out some way of... the
Power.
Exactly, I do the power. Let's get about our business.
Yeah. Right.
I'll take my tea. Earl Grey in Norway. Whoever would have thought it, I know. The skier, okay.
Our first job was to mark the point where the skier had landed, so we knew the distance to beat. Unfortunately, James was no Sir Edmund Hillary.
You've got to paint it across.
There you go, I've done it.
No, you've got to get it across the whole way across.
That'll do.
It won't do.
Shut up.
How hard can it be?
With James proving his own laws of gravity, I got on with the business of power.
Hi, is that the United Kingdom Rocketry Association? Yeah, it's Jeremy Clarkson here from Top Gear, and I need some rockets.
Soon, though, it went dark again, so we went to the pub.
Nice to meet you. Damien.
The next morning, the Rocketeers arrived and announced that they could give the Mini twice as much thrust, pound for pound, than an F-15 jet fighter.
I've taken drag, aerodynamic drag, ski friction, gravity, and the thrust of 3 Contrail hybrid rocket motors into it.
This is rocket science.
This is rocket science.
But then I saw the rockets.
Oh, you can buy these from post offices in November.
You just wait until you're up there.
Are these really going to give enough thrust?
They are.
Yes, more thrust than you can handle.
And so where, we put them here?
No, come on, Jeremy, that way round. Down here somewhere. Take the boot out, take the back out.
Yeah.
Rip that off. Let's just rip that off. Let's have a bootful.
Meanwhile, I'd chosen a spot to build my snow barrier.
I think about here. Or here. Nope. I think... Right. Bug.
How fast was the skier going when he left the thing?
56 miles an hour.
We're going to be going 83 miles an hour.
This meant Hammond had to think big.
Richard Hammond, how's the braking going?
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well.
By this stage, Spider-Man had finally got to the top of the ski jump.
When the skier goes down, how does he stay in the middle?
Oh, it has drags.
Grooves. Liquid nitrous oxide.
Yeah.
And that's got all the oxygen in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the bottom end, fuel, which is rubber.
Here's a tip. Please, I'm a doctor of engineering twice. If you use rubber as fuel, You're not going to go as far as if you use like petrol or dynamite.
Hey, Jeremy. Do you think you could mount it on skis?
Why does he want skis?
Just trust me, if you put it on the skis, I can keep it dead straight.
We'll have to make them.
Well, yes. Obviously, we can't go to the ski rental shop and say, have you got some skis for a Mini? James, the track is 1,300 millimetres.
And with those measurements, the Icemen could now cut their special grooves.
Oh, yes!
If I lose it now, I'm going to end up in the Lillehammer Asda.
How much will this team?
Rocket scientists have found a job for me to do.
Does anyone want Earl Grey?
No! With my skis fitted, the rockets installed, and the ice grooves coming along nicely, James and I dropped in on Hammond to inspect his snowbank.
I can guarantee that won't stop the Mini. Partly because it's not substantial enough, but mostly because you've built that in front of that slope, and the Mini is coming down that one.
Right? Righto.
What a complete...
Some adjustments.
Did nobody tell you?
No, obviously, or I'd have built it over there. That is fairly embarrassing. What I need is a big machine.
The rocket car, primed with 1.5 tons of explosive thrust, began its long journey to the top of the jump. And half an hour later, the ice grooves were ready for Chris Bonington's approval.
I'm not
Please
touching-
don't come near me.
I'm not touching
Go
you.
over there.
I'm nowhere near you.
That's really nice. This has never been done before.
No, we are in fact at the cutting edge of cocking about.
The time for cocking about, however, was over. The wall was finished, the target was laid down, sort of, and we were now in the hands of the rocket men.
Filling the rockets.
Get that next one. It's going to be an appalling mess.
An explosion. A burning Mini.
Carnage,
Coming
yeah.
down on its roof.
Venting. Red. White. Blue. Confirm.
Venting. In 3, 2, 1. Purge.
Come on, Mini!
Armed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Initiate.
Wall's going to be needed!
We were a bit short.
We didn't beat the ski jump.
How well did it ski?
It's brilliant skill!
Do you know what, though? I'm satisfied with that, and anyway, that's it. I have to go. I have to go back to the world of daytime telly. Boys, it's been a joy. Goodbye.
It's been great having you here.
Thanks
And
for
that was
coming.
quite something. Bye.
So you're trying to create the ultimate esports team?
I made contact with life from other galaxies, including the amphicephali, these weird snakes that had snakes inside their snakes. Apparently, these creatures had had an evolutionary history just as long and complex as humanity had. And after all that they'd both been through, the life forms of each galaxy were finally old enough and mature enough to meet peacefully, without conflict. This video won't describe all intergalactic history. The stories are endless. How the United Galaxies re-encountered and defeated the Q, how they cradled their suns in artificial shells and crossed space through wormholes. But one moment worth relating is the rediscovery of Earth. A lone researcher located the birthplace of humanity, where all the asteromorphs and machines and post-humans could trace their origins. Earth had gone stagnant and feral by then, an obscure and empty world. But after 500 million years of absence, humans returned to their homeworld, though both had changed beyond recognition. I have to end with a confession. Humans, asteromorphs, machines, and all their descendants are now extinct. They've been dead for 1 billion years. This video is just our best approximation of their history, based on the available archaeological evidence. We don't know what killed off the humans. Maybe some unimaginably destructive war. Maybe their empire broke up and each world suffered its own slow, private death. Some claim that humanity migrated into some higher plane of existence. We don't know what happened, and ultimately, it doesn't matter. The story of humanity was never about its end, not about its ultimate domination of galaxies or its transcendence from reality. Being human was always about the daily lives of people, from the love songs of the carefree hedonists to the pontifications of the Terra Sapiens to the families of the sail people sharing a meal. Grander narratives and absolute ideals are always what led to humanity's worst atrocities. The Gravitals massacred to reclaim the past. The Q conquered for some fanatical, idealized future. Living for some abstract ultimate goal so often leads to destruction. So when you look on the remains of the long-gone human species, remember...
Looking for your shit? Get out of here, bastard.
Happy Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Crisis. Merry Chrysler.
Papo. Ay, guwapo yan.
Puma.
If you like this video, I will show you a...
My love language is physical touch. Touch my ass, please, and thank you.
Where's the serotonin, you bitch?
Jack! You little sausage!
And he falls down all by himself, perfectly landing.
Hey, why y'all making so much noise? What y'all doing up in here? Oh, hell.
Don't even think about it. Just name it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
Who's the one guy you would sleep with?
John Stamos.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Hurry up!
mama, I love the way I see you dance.
Hey, Lenny. Oh, shit. What's the matter with you? Getting water all over the place like a goddamn maniac. God, you realize the mess you're making doing God knows what? What is this? God.
Sorry, George.
And you wonder why our humans put us in cages. Shit.
Jaxie, your mama's holding your hand like a girl.
What you gonna do when you see Joe Biden in the Oval Office? I'm gonna give him a big old kiss. Hey, yeah.
If you're not happy single, you won't be happy married. Happiness comes from cats, not relationships.
Ow! What you doing?
Hey, buddy, what'd you have for dinner today? Oh, right. I see.
This is a picture of me exactly a year ago. I was eating a lot of junk food and drinking at least a bottle of liquor every day. And this is me now. And I still do all that shit. Gang, gang, bitch.
You.
No, don't do this, Pickle. Pickle, no. No. No, because, come on, look, you're trapping your head. No. I have to go to school. I'm sorry. No, I have to go to school.
Are you shitting me right now? Ooh, you a little sexy rope. You want to tie me up, don't you? Yeah, I want you to tie me up. I want you to tie me up. What are you doing? Oh, what you coming up in my room like that for, man?
Tell me your indoor cat won't survive in the wild without telling me.
What did you do to yourself? Marley does not want to play with you. Can you please leave her alone?
Ja.
Every night around 9 p.m. my dog picks a random object to guard. Tonight it's a potato.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Shut the f up.
I've been picked on 3 times today. All because of my trousers.
What's wrong with your trousers?
Look at the f***ing size of them.
Are you messing with my duvet cover? Sir? Excuse me, can I help you with something? What are you doing? That's new.
If Mama asks, it's dog food. I got it off of Amazon. It was $13.95. It's not illegal cannabis.
Они начинают злиться. Да.
Alright, so if my calculations are correct, and they always are, I should be able to— oh, shit! What the hell kind of contraption do we got here? Looks like, oh, God! What do we got on the menu? Oh! You know, Sharon, I'm done. I'm over it. We've been shopping for damn near 3 hours, and I'm just gonna lay here.
Morning, baby.
Before we start communion, we have a few church announcements. First off, I'm seeing a lot of AirPods in ears, so let's get that under control. Secondly, all hymns now identify as they. And of course, amen is now a them. A them.
A them.
Stewie, how would you like to go to a mommy and me class with me tomorrow, huh? They haven't seen my new look yet, and I feel like I need a win in front of the Range Rover, Mom.
Are you asking me out on a date? Well, I'm gonna have to get waxed first. I want you to make it look like Caillou.
Tundra has a spectacular mustache.
Hey, Tundra. I must ask you a question.
And his girlfriend is a fox of another species. My name is Kimberly DeFisher from Arctic Fox Daily Wildlife Rescue, and this is Tundra and Cleo's story for GeoBeats. I have 15 foxes living in my backyard.
Hey, no. This is my new fuzzy sweater. Don't do that.
Supper time! I rescue and rehabilitate orphaned or injured wild animals who are native to New York State. And I provide forever sanctuary to foxes. I kind of just fell into being the crazy fox lady. Come on! All of my foxes live outside.
Holy fuck. What? Wow, my guild left, I guess. Lotus is officially moving to Faralina. And this was posted back in October. Wow.
Cinema in minutes. In today's video, we will be going through an American.
My father was a Conservative. My mother voted Labour, so I suppose by rights I should be a Liberal Democrat. But in actual fact, I'm a Nazi.
Just have your name, please, sir?
Right, hold on a second. Ready?
Yes.
My name is Derek.
What are you doing?
That's my name.
What is?
This. Derek.
Derek, is your name?
Yes.
What kind of name is that?
Well, it's my name.
Bit unusual, isn't it, Mr.
If I had £1 for every time someone had said that to me.
How do you spell Mr.
It's as it sounds.
Yeah, but if you wouldn't mind spelling it for me.
Well, I mean, can't you?
I would be very grateful if you would spell it for me.
All right, then. N-I-P-P-L-E.
Nipple.
Beg your pardon?
Nipple.
Nipple? Where? What are you talking about?
N-I-P-P-L-E.
Hyphen E.
Hyphen E. In my book spells nipple. It does not spell...
Have you gone mad? What are you talking about? I thought the modern policeman was supposed to be a highly trained law enforcement unit. You can't even spell.
All right, Mr. Nipple, if I can have your address, please. Address, please.
You talking to me?
Yes.
You want to know my address?
Yes, please.
Or do you want to know Mr. Nipple's address?
Your address, please.
My address, right. My address is number 22. King's Lynn.
Watch it.
What?
Just watch it.
Watch what, for heaven's
Do
sake?
realise that assaulting a police officer is a very serious offence.
Yes, I imagine it probably is. Very serious. But giving your address to a policeman, on the other hand, probably isn't so serious. Or is it? Perhaps the law's changed since I last looked. Perhaps the Home Secretary has had to take...
I got the best deal anywhere.
Then again, that's like saying you're taller than a 4-year-old.
Hello.
No, what?
Hello.
No, what? What?
Businessman. ¿Por qué tengo que hacer negocio con un hombre que me falta respeto? Tratando de negocios bajo mis narices, sin pedirme permiso a mí, y que me manipula para hacer esta reunión en frente de mis hombres.
This is me, facing a judo black belt in a jiu-jitsu tournament with some of the best grapplers in the East Coast, all for the grand prize of $1,000 and entry into an even more prestigious competition. The first person I'll be going against is Jeff, a guy that looks like a Viking and has the strength to match. I start the match off playing butterfly guard. I use a butterfly hook to lift Jeff and lock up double unders. Then I switch to the shoulder crunch for the sweep. One mistake a lot of people make with the shoulder crunch is that they keep their elbow too low. This lets the person on top slip their arm out. For mount, Jeff bridges, so I throw up a triangle, and it slips off. To continue the attack, I go the north-south, but he's able to escape. Now I start working to pass Jeff's legs. I smash Jeff's knees together, and when he opens them up, I go for the knee slice. I kick my foot free to get the pass. Jeff brings his knee in to recover guard, but I use the opportunity to fall back on a heel hook. I connect my hands and start hipping in to get the finish. We roll through and I end up getting too excited, so I roll too far and we end up on the weak side. I try finishing from the weak side, but Jeff's able to kick free.
Evolution is one of nature and Dougal future. I and of all need. Instead of sorting our species randomly, today we're going to be starting from D tier and going up. I've reserved D tier for species that would be completely impossible to have satisfying sex with, and last on our list is the high-tech. The high-tech are old, withered humans who've lived many years beyond their natural lifespan, encased in advanced metal cradles. To fuck, they have to crawl out of their shells like dying hermit crabs. The high-techs canonically have a 90% chance of dying every time they have sex, giving them the unenviable title of least fuckable species in Man After Man. The food creatures are genetically engineered to produce as much meat as possible, which is then harvested from them as they grow. Their tortured existence prevents them from moving, meaning they can't be an active participant in sex. In addition, the hungry humans of the future would probably object to you putting your dick in their food supply. The vacuumorphs are designed to withstand the low pressure of space, and their entire body is covered by a hard shell. Being the product of intensive genetic engineering, the vacuumorphs are unable to reproduce, meaning they probably don't have a sex drive. And unlike all tomorrow's asteromorphs, the vacuumorphs don't have a giant prolapsed asshole to propel them through the cosmic void, making them a disappointment all around. Moving on to C tier, we have the spike tooths. Despite their hulking size, their sharp teeth and claws add a little too much risk to a variety of sexual activities. Fucking the host would require you to dodge the blood-sucking parasites attached to it. Imagine a swarm of tiny vampire men crawling all over your nude body. No thanks. The awkward crawling all attached to it. Imagine a swarm of tiny vampire men crawling all over your nude body. No thanks. The awkward positioning of the pack animals' heads makes it impossible for them to look at you during the act, unless of course you're sitting on their face. But even that would be difficult to accomplish because there's no way for this thing to position itself comfortably. Next up, we have a group of 8 species who all just kind of look like monkeys. Because of their similar physical characteristics, it was pretty difficult to differentiate between them, so I've listed them in order of ass size. From bottom to top, we have the desert runners, boat dwellers, fish eaters, tree dwellers, memory people and woodland dwellers, forest dwellers, and tundra dwellers, who you might recognize from this iconic image. Topping off C tier, we have the slothmen, who look kinda like bears. Unfortunately, not the right kind of bears. Despite their round, fluffy bodies, their overall plainness makes them sexually uninteresting. At the end of B tier, we have the symbionts, who earned this ranking because they're a 2-for-1 deal. The hunter symbionts scoot in ahead due to their increased aggressiveness. The aquatics have wide mouths, soft bodies, and thick lips. Their distant relatives, the aquamorphs, have even wider mouths, perfect for gulping down dick of any size, with the added bonus of an easily identifiable crotch area. The ticks are covered in round, soft lumps of flesh, perfect to grab and squeeze. Just close your eyes and pretend you're holding a titty. In addition, the multiple sets of arms mean the ticks can manhandle you with ease. The king of B tier is the Plains Dweller, due to his surprisingly kind and human face. I can easily imagine him gently smiling at me as we lay in bed together. The deal is sealed by the sick fucking mullet. A tier is dominated by the hivers and the socials, who look like tall, mustachioed werewolves with thick and luscious manes of hair and chiseled, muscular bodies. I'm not saying I'm into that, but, so the thing that you really have to consider is that the females of the species look like bald goblins, but their massive fat titties make up for it. Finally, we arrive at the covenants, but their massive fat titties make up for it. Finally, we arrive at the coveted position of S tier, a title so mighty that only one species could rise to claim it. And that species is the Ant-Men and their dump truck ass. The Ant-Men are hauling the widest load known to humankind, and that shit is 100% natural. They were born to make mortal men quiver simultaneously with terror and sexual frustration. To top it off, that long middle finger is a ready-made tool for acute prostate stimulation. There's really nothing the Ant-Man can't do, and for that, it takes the crown of most fuckable species in Man After Man. Before we wrap this up, I'd like to say that I was very overwhelmed and honestly touched by the response to my last video. Thank you to everyone who liked and subscribed, and thank you especially to CM Kosa himself for actually commenting on it. Speaking of comments, let me know below which of these species you think is the most bangable. I'm waiting with bated breath. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go sit in the shower and think about what I just did.
Yes.
You know it's chilly, right?
Right, so Man After Man. No. Man actually starts in the past, with like 20 pages filling out the history of modern humans before getting into the cool science fiction stuff. What does he think this is, a history class? Absolutely not. So let's just skip over all that junk and get right into the... Wait, hold on. Wait. Just a little bit further. There we go, it's a big ugly fish guy. Finally, we're getting somewhere. This is the aquamorph, a man made to live underwater, and not anywhere else. Ever. But like, don't worry, they're totally cool with it. In fact, they don't even envy their land-dwelling counterparts, alright? And yeah, I know, they give off an air of deep sadness. For sure. But don't worry, their faces just look like that. They're fine, I swear. But hey, you know what? If fishmen aren't your thing, then maybe I have something a little bit more up your alley. But hey, you know what? If fishmen aren't your thing, then maybe I have something a little bit more up your alley. That's right, it's a walking avocado. These are the vacuumorphs, a group of guys genetically modified to live in the planet's orbit, and not anywhere else. Ever. You see, out in space, there's much less air pressure, because there's much less air. So their bodies don't need as much positive pressure inside of them. A fun side effect of this is that if they were to ever re-enter the atmosphere, they'd be crushed like a tin can and die. Like I said, it's a fun time. Now, if you're a guy like me, you might be wondering why these people are making genetic monstrosities in the first place. Well, you see, the Earth is dying. So the Aqua and Vacuumorphs were given the task of building a big ship for humanity to fly away on and leave everything behind. So essentially, they've been tasked to achieve something that would never benefit them in any way. Because the only people selected for space travel are the cream of the crop, the best human specimens out there. And like, these guys are great, but that's not exactly how I would describe them. No, that's more of how I would describe this guy, Hemez Smoot, the perfect man and one of the few people deemed fit to explore outer space. But forget about them for now. Don't worry, they'll be back, just not for a while. Anywho, back on Earth, things aren't getting too great. With pollution and overpopulation getting worse and worse, the truly elite individuals of humanity seal themselves away into robotic shells, calling themselves the high-techs. Get it? Because it's like they're really technologically advanced, high-tech. Just some highbrow humor for you there. Anyway, the high-techs figured it'd be a good idea to reintroduce biodiversity into the Earth, which is a good idea, but instead of genetically modifying animals to fill more niches, they genetically modified other humans into filling different niches. And while there are still some unengineered people out there, most of them are either mechanical horror shows or big monkeys with faces that make me very uncomfortable. Also, don't get too attached to the normal people that are still around, because the Earth's magnetic poles switch and kill all of them. It also kills the high-techs and the ticks, the high-techs' descendants, which are somehow even worse than they were. But I doubt anybody misses them too much, so let's move on. In fact, that little pole flop killed basically everything, except for the 4 dwellers that the high-techs made earlier. And over the next 5 million years, these 4 original species branch off and evolve into many, many different species. This is where the book spends most of its time, so I'm not going to go into everything. But for example, let's look at the forest and tundra dwellers, who started off with a predatory relationship, with this tundra guy getting absolutely slaughtered by this little forest man, as all of his friends just walk away and leave him for dead. But then they move on to having a symbiotic relationship. Like here, with this little man acting as the navigator and hunter as his friend gives him a big hug to keep him warm and comfortable. Or here, where we see the little guys using their friends for competitive fighting. Nature is beautiful, isn't it? And finally, they go from enemies to friends to back to enemies again when the little guys turn into parasitic leeches that drink their blood. So that's fun. Real quick, let's just go over some of the other guys. So the tropical forest dweller turned into the tree dweller, and that's about it. That's basically all he did. Give this man 5 million years and all he does is get a little taller and end his friendship with the butterflies. Then we have the plains dwellers, who became the socials, who themselves became the hivers, which then became the hive. Basically a massive hive mind, like a bunch of human-sized ants. Which is terrible. I hate it. Get it out of my sight. Moving on, we have the temperate woodland dweller, who turned into basically anything you can imagine. I mean, these mans have it all. A human fishing pole? Got it. Gremlin man? Absolutely. A frickin' saber-toothed tiger? All. A human fishing pole? Got it. Gremlin man? Absolutely. A frickin' saber-toothed tiger? We got you covered. I mean, heck, just like in All Tomorrows, they even rejected humanity and returned to boat, if you can believe that. Hey, you guys remember Hemez Smoot and the other space guys I told you not to worry about? Well, as it turns out, we probably should have worried about them, because from the looks of things, time has not been too kind to them. Long gone are the beautiful peaks of humanity we remember, and in their place are these little Darth Vader babies. Now you might notice that these mans only have short legs, so they're not very good at walking. As it turns out, they noticed this too, and the conversation went a little like this. Yo, Smoot Jr., I've been thinking, you know how we only have short legs? Yeah. Well, I made something for us to get around a little quicker. Oh cool, so you made like a motorcycle or a car or something? Oh yeah, that would have been a good idea. So you didn't do that then? No, I took one of those monkey-looking guys and genetically transformed its children into the ideal form for long-term terrestrial travel, using a telekinetic helmet to easily and directly suppress its wants and desires and replace them with mine. Oh. Yeah, no, I was definitely thinking of something more like a car. But it gets better because the rest of humanity was also turned into these bizarre creatures. Like this guy who's basically a glorified air conditioner. Or this one whose only purpose in life is to be eaten. Over and over again. And just regenerate the parts that have already been eaten. It's like that guy whose liver was eaten by an eagle every day, but instead of a liver, it's potentially their entire body. And instead of an eagle, it's a little man on a horse. And yeah, that's basically the end of it. What's the moral? I don't know. Love thy neighbor. Don't turn people into monkeys. Your guess is as good as mine on this one. Anyway, if you liked the video, then why not share it with a friend or someone else you think might like it? And until next time, don't die. See you later.
What would happen if humanity, faced with a doomed Earth, was forced to rely on genetic engineering and technology to survive? Man After Man and Anthropology of the Future speculates about the next 5 million years. Years of human evolution. This is an interesting book. Is it realistic? No, I don't think so, not in the slightest. But I always love stories which take a look at
Hi everyone, Dr. Bernard here. This is
Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's edition of the Jolly Heretic. Now, for this week's Jolly Heretic, I thought that rather than making one of my usual light-hearted
So unless you haven't been on YouTube in a while, you've probably seen All Tomorrow's The Future of Humanity in your YouTube recommended feed, if not had someone outright tell you about it. Surprisingly enough, All Tomorrow's is actually a pretty old story, despite the fact that it's just becoming popular now, the original story being released way back in 2008. This new dramatization brought in a new influx of fans and attention, which is great. It's a terrific story. I do mean terrific in more than one sense. It's both awesome and terrifying. There's a few antagonists in All Tomorrows, but the Qs stand out as the most infamous. The brutal morphing of humanity into whatever form they see fit. makes all the hostile aliens bent on wiping out humans and other sci-fi seem downright kind. The fact they're so brutal to humans is why the theory I'm about to pitch you probably seems impossible if you're familiar with All Tomorrows. Today I'm here to tell you that the Q are actually humans themselves that have time traveled from the distant future to change their own fate. As I make my case, there's something I want you to keep in mind, and that is what All Tomorrows does differently than most other sci-fi. It really explores the effects that deep time would have on societies. What is deep time? Well, you probably heard those surprising facts like Cleopatra living closer to the opening of the first Taco Bell than she did to the building of the pyramids, or that T-Rex lived closer to humans than it did to the Spinosaurus. All of human civilization so far has only existed in the ballpark of 5,000 years. How will humans even think of themselves after 200 million years from now? It's hard to imagine. To move forward with my theory, we do need to make a quick recap of All Tomorrows. While I go through it, I want you to see if you notice a pattern. Pattern of flourishing, genetic modification, and destruction. We need to make this quick though, so just consider this the cliff notes. Needless to say, if you want to learn more, check out the dramatization, or better yet, the actual book. And if you don't need a recap, I've conveniently timestamped the chapters in this video, so feel free to skip ahead. We start in a not so far off time period. We finally managed to colonize Mars. The people of Mars start to change physically over their generations, both naturally from living on a world that has so much lower gravity, and also artificially to better tolerate the environment by genetically modifying themselves. Eventually, Mars becomes as powerful as Earth, and tensions rise into a resource war. It's the first time that humans fight a war with a death toll in the billions. We almost wipe ourselves out. When the smoke clears, a peace is made between the Earthlings and Martians, and to prevent a future war, it's decided that, on a whole, the human race should be modified into a single cohesive race again, one better for expanding to the stars while we're at it. And so the Star People are born. The Star People are extremely successful and start to spread through our arm of the galaxy. Humans come to inhabit hundreds of worlds and thrive. Something is strange though. Plant and animal life has proven to be somewhat common in the galaxy, but there's no sign of sentient life. Sure, our estimates for running into intelligent life is rural in reality,
Oh wait, so I just convert you to that. Okay, fair enough. Oh wait, so I just convert you to that.
Your long waterfall lakes. See, they're protesting. Protesting what? Lack of a freedom, somebody say in the group. You're right here, waterfall lakes.
These are Nazis?
Yes!
That's pretty cool.
Neo-Nazi. Do you like your one up?
Neo-Nazis are cool.
Really?
Whatever.
You know what they did with people?
Not really. Didn't do anything. Okay. Okay. What? Shut up. None. None. 0.
Você não colocou suas roupas secar ainda, sabe isso? Suas roupas.
Fuck off. Fuck off. What? Fuck off.
Why do you think that your stomach is hurting? What do you think about why your stomach is hurting? Why do you think your stomach is hurting? So you don't think God will either? What is God will either?
I'm writing. Thinking and I'm writing.
Okay, never mind. See you later. See you tomorrow.
Anything that we yelled at.
Yes, sure. I told you to get your clothes dry.
You can't understand any of this. Not a single word that I'm saying. You can understand.
Oh, specific. Okay, what I'm saying. Pretty much if I say that you want me to specific. Make sure you put it closer, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you didn't do it.
Okay.
Just here.
Okay.
You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your body and shit it all out. You take some chocolate and some lobster and some eggs and some pie, and then you mix it in your
U-Haul? Oh, no, you haven't.
Okay.
Good.
Short backstory on the so to explain my question is like I got myself 2 years ago a laptop that had 2 graphic cards. It had an Intel and an Nvidia, and it had the famous Optimus chip that was difficult to operate from Linux. And I saw at the beginning I was like expecting to get support at some point, and it was kind of difficult at the beginning, and full support came something like a half a year ago with one project that's on GitHub that's working pretty nice. But what I saw that at some point I was kind of expecting that maybe NVIDIA would kind of chip in and do something for it. And they said flat out, no, we're not doing any support. And I was like, well, we're playing in the same sandbox. Why can't we be nice to each other? It's like things like this that we cannot have the hardware producers think about the other stuff as well. Yes. They're like hard set on that you cannot really cooperate with them on this. It's like what's your comment on this, that kind of situation?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm very happy to say that it's the exception rather than the rule. And I'm also happy to very publicly point out that NVIDIA has been one of the worst trouble spot we've had with hardware manufacturers. And that is really sad because NVIDIA tries to sell chips, a lot of chips, into the Android market. And NVIDIA has been the single worst company we've ever dealt with. So NVIDIA, fuck you.
Making some friends there.
Pablo. Pablo.
Hundreds of miners work inside an active volcano, here in Indonesia, battling toxic fumes all day long. They're mining sulfur, which locals call devil's gold. Working conditions here are so dangerous, many miners don't live past 50 years old.
Nama saya Mister, saya sebagai penambang belirang di Kawah Ijen.
Miners like Mistar carry up to 200 pounds of sulfur on their backs, up and down these steep cliffs. And Mistar's been doing it for 30 years.
Bawa belirang, mikul, itu sudah biasa, di pundaknya ngapal itu.
The sulfur is used in everything from matches and rubber to cosmetic products. It's even what makes our sugar white.
Nah, ini belerang yang bagus, ndak ada pasirnya. Ini yang namanya natural.
But most of the world's sulfur comes from oil and gas refining, making volcanic mines like this relatively obsolete. Yet these miners are still working, earning about $12 to $17 a day. Because in this remote part of Indonesia, it's one of the better paying jobs.
Walaupun ini keadaan bahaya, yaitu dah tadi berani mati, takut lapar.
So why is this form of sulfur mining still happening? And what makes this such a risky business?
Nah, kalau saya bangun mas itu antara jam 1 atau jam 2. Sarapan dulu itu ndak ada lain mas. Ya cuma nasi itu mas. Dengan lauk pauk itu ya pakis kata orang sini mas. Jam segitu mas, keadaan sekarang itu rawan hujan, rawan longsor di kawahnya.
This is as far as Mistar can go on his bike. There are no roads to the crater, so he has to walk the rest of the way. It's a 2-mile hike up to the ridge of Ijen volcano.
Banyak